How was the trip back from Southampton?
It was a happy bus, that's for sure. Always a tricky place to go, especially the first league game, this side of Christmas, and absolutely delighted to come away with all 3 points. I thought it was a really solid performance from start to finish.
At both ends scored. Ellen Adele, she's on fire, isn't she? And you'll have been pleased to keep the clean sheet.
Yeah, absolutely delighted with the clean sheet. I keep saying it. We've had some good conversations with the players in terms of what we're going after this second half of the season, and that is one of them. To have more clean sheets to give ourselves a more solid base to build on. And going forward, I thought we were a real threat. Could have been a higher scoreline, definitely. But yeah, just overall for the 90 minutes, we were very consistent.
How pleased are you as a coach when you identify someone like Eleanor and you bring her to the club, and she's in the sort of form that she's been in this season?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing, the same process for a lot of players. You research them for a while, you follow them, and that their attributes have to complement what you're going after as a coaching team. We knew she'd score goals. She didn't hit the ground running to start with, although she did score pre-season. But now that she's found some form and her confidence is sky high, hopefully she keeps finding the back of the net.
Going back a few weeks, that game with Portsmouth, how much now when you look back at that, was that a bit of a sort of kick-started you, gave you a bit of a wake-up call for the turn of the year? Yeah,
I think it's nice sometimes to get a reality check, and you've got to, the games are so limited that every game's like a cup final, because if you win you're staying up there, and if you lose you can really lose your grip on kind of where you want to be. So it gives a real focus and clarity in terms of what we're going after, and the players are well aware that they have to turn up, and I'm a big believer that if you want it more than the opposition on the day, you're probably going to come out with a positive outcome.
Players always say they don't look at the table, but in some ways it's probably not a bad thing to look at the table now, because it makes you very much aware that you've got to keep going, you've got to keep winning these games because it's just so tight. Yeah,
I think the players were aware that we were 2 points clear of Southampton going into the fixture. 3 points would give a little bit of buffer on them, and that was the messages. We've got to start being consistent on the pitch and making sure we're collecting points each game that we play to pull away from these teams as well.
Blackburn at the weekend, strangely +5 on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, strange, going back to the WSL days I think there. But yeah, something different, and I spoke to Steph about it earlier in the week, and the players have got to adapt. The fixtures as we progress in the game, and the television deals and stuff that's coming in, your fixtures are going to change, so all week's slightly different in terms of our training, but we're well prepared going into that fixture on Saturday.
And a difficult one, there's no question. I know your battles with Blackburn over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, they're a tough team. They've got some really good players, but this second half of the season we're trying to make it all about us and really focus on what we want to do when we've got it. And I think there's been some really clear messages, and I think that's evident in terms of the style of play. And defensively, what are we, what do we look like when we haven't got the ball, and if we can get them bits both right, I think it doesn't matter who you're playing, you got a good chance. Cheers.
Matt, did you expect it to be as tight as it is this season?
I think it was always going to be competitive. I think it gets harder and harder each year. I think the amount of points between each team's probably not. Like I've just said, a win propels you up and a loss propels you down. So it is tight in that regard. But I think I said it last week. Over the next couple of weeks, I think that'll be more evident, and teams will start pulling away from each other, and the league will end up having maybe 2 or 3 who's chasing it. Cheers.
I've had a couple of fans ask about Louise Griffiths, Mel. I know last time we spoke it was quite hard for you to put the time frame on when she'll be back, but what can you sort of say about the latest with Louise?
She's back on the grass. She's kind of in the non-contact drills, like passing drill where it's unopposed. It's just about managing the inflammation in her knee. Structurally, she's fine. But again, because she's been out so long, there's a return to play protocol that's got to be followed. You can't all of a sudden just chuck her in and then she'll decline quite quickly. So it's about progressing her load and getting her back up to full fitness and sharpness. We'll introduce her into some PGA games hopefully in the next couple of weeks, like we did with Brianna.
Yeah.
I think that's important for Louise to get her confidence back on the grass as well, and once she's kind of past them stages, she'll be available then for selection.
And what about Mary? Obviously, since she came back from the winter break, she's gone into the team. She started last week, did really, really well. Just tell me a little bit about sort of her journey to push her in, your thoughts to be a starter in the position as well at left back, and how that's kind of.
Yeah, I think she's had a hell of a journey. It's quite unique. She's only been at the club 18 months. She's trialled for the PGA 18 months ago, and we've seen something special in her. And her physical profile is unbelievable. A real athlete. As you all know, she's a kickboxer, and she's got them fighting tendencies. Like the natural instinct for Mary is to defend and protect things. She's quite a utility player. She can play a number of different positions, play either full back or either flank, and we've put her in there as a left back, and she's really took the opportunity. Thought she was really good against Exeter, and thought she was excellent at the weekend against Southampton, playing against a really established player in Araya Dennis, and she didn't have a sniff. She won all her duels, all her headers. And yeah, she wants to be a professional footballer. She's stopped the kickboxing, so she's really thrown everything into football. So she's showcasing me what she can do, and she's doing really well at this moment in time.
It feels like there's a bit of competition emerging in a few positions. Obviously, Ellen, I know she did play before Christmas, but she's started the last couple of games. It feels like there's a few players who sort of pushed their own contention a little bit, shaking things up. Which must be quite pleased with.
I'm really pleased. I think the position we've got now with the players is that there's competition for every single place all over the pitch. Especially with Brianna coming back now, she's completed 90 minutes yesterday, so she's back in the frame as well. So everywhere you look on the pitch, there's another player who can come in and take your shirt. So the pressure's there for them to perform. And if we don't see the high performance levels or the actions that we want on the pitch, then there's someone else can come in and take that shirt. So I think that's really healthy, and I think that's really important that there's competition there for places. Cheers.
Can I just ask one though? When you talk about competition at the top end of the league, the structure for the WSL and Championship has been in place for quite a while now, but was probably put in place at a time when A, there was a massive gap between the leagues, and B, a lot of Championship teams were amateur, they weren't professional. That's obviously changed. The standard in the Championship, I think we'd all agree, has risen a lot. Does there need to be a look at the minute, the fact that only one team gets promoted, there's only one promotion place, there's no playoffs, there's not a playoff potentially Championship, WSL. There seems a lot that could be done there to reflect the fact that this is now a completely different league than it was even 3, 4, 5 years ago. Yeah,
I think the leagues have to grow with the demand of the game as well. Who knows what it's going to look like in the next 5 years, but I agree. I think there would be certainly more entertainment if there was 2 relegated and 2 promoted. The leagues might then look a little bit different year to year, rather than the same maybe team coming up and down like a bit of a yo-yo team. But yeah, I would like to see the leagues grow. I think we need more fixtures, especially in the Championship with Reading not starting the season, and we've lost 2 games there. I think as professional footballers now and making a career out of the game, you want to play more games.
Thank you.
Cheers.